Hey everyone, so let's talk stories. The book I'll be talking about today is Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. It's quite a catchy title. So it's written by Mr. Ben Stevenson, and this is touted to be what first book in Ernie Cunningham series. Ernie Cunningham is the name of the protagonist. Now, it starts off as a classic whodunit novel, and it evolves into some sort of a dysfunctional family drama. Now, the novel is written in a first person view of the protagonist, Ernest Ernie Cunningham, whose profession is he writes books on how to write books. This how to guides on how to write a thriller, how to write all these kinds of guides that we have out there, right? So he's one of those writers. Now, when he explains what he does for living in the book to a character in the novel, the character replies, "Okay, so basically you write books about how to write books that you have never written, bought by people who will never write one." Okay, the book is sprinkled with funny references, funny humorous dialogue throughout the narrative, and the story starts off when the protagonist Ernie, short for Ernest, so he starts recounting an incident that has happened 3 years ago, where he witnesses his brother murdering someone while in possession of some $267,000 with him. Right now, the narrative shifts to present day, where Ernie arrives at a ski resort to attend his family reunion organized by his aunt Charlotte. Now, Charlotte is his dead father's sister, and Charlotte in her age is close to Ernie's mother's age. Ernie's mother is Audrey. So what we observe through right off the bat of the from the novel is there are so many characters. So from in the first couple of chapters, all the characters are introduced straight away and thrown at the user, and there are no new characters introduced into the narrative until to the very end of the book. Right, until then, the writer plays with the characters that he introduced in the beginning of the novel. That I think is a very it's a smart way to write a novel, so that the reader doesn't have to keep track of the characters he is encountering, and once you and also once the reader is accustomed to all the characters, he can follow them more clearly. Now, as the narrative progresses, I think so the way that narrative is constructed is so uh, yeah, the way that narrative is constructed is narrative the way that the narrative is constructed is the narrator is speaking to the reader, is talking to the reader, like it's like breaking the fourth wall. So generally I don't like this concept of breaking the fourth wall, but somehow in this context it works really well, that too in a serious murder mystery setting. Now, the book is written in a way that narrator is recounting his own experience in the past. So he gives some glimpses of future in the writing that actually is quite intriguing to read. So the like the title says, someone in my family has killed someone. So he right off the bat he's saying that the all through the narrative you'll start seeing murderers and his family are involved in those murders, right? So, and even all through the book you will see him giving you some hint about what's about to come up, and what are the incidents that might come up without spoiling your experience. Right, again, going back to the story, as Ernie reaches the ski resort, the which was organized by his aunt Charlotte, and the family members, all his family members except his stepsister Lucy, and and his brother-in-law Andy, were the only people who are nice to him. and nobody else. Everyone has hatred towards him. And the way Ernie justifies that hatred is because he says that he has, he testified in the court against his brother Michael, right? The Michael who killed someone 3 years ago. And and the reason why they were meeting at the ski resort was that Michael was being released that day after after spending relatively less time of 3 years for a murder, in a prison. And that's because that's partly credit is partly to his lawyer, Marcelo, who also happens to be his stepfather. And this is the setting of the novel, and after the setting is done, that's when a murder takes place. And that's when a murder takes place, that's when a dead body is found. Now, there is a there is a shift in the environment where the story takes place. That means a policeman is has brought into scene, and everyone, because so right off the bat, what the reader is shown what the reader was what the reader will be shown is, these Cunninghams, right? The family name Cunningham is actually pretty well known among the among the police groups, among the judicial areas, where these Cunninghams are said to be killers. Because this is when a past story comes into picture, where his their father, the Michael's and Ernie's father, was shot dead by two police officers while he was in the middle of the robbery. Now, this is, and Michael's father ends up killing one of the policemen. Now, because of all these incidents, the name Cunningham, their name is actually ill reputed, and they have a bad reputation, bad rap on these bad rap among the police. Now, when a police arrives at the scene, when right after Michael has arrived at the scene mm, with Michael's Michael's ex-wife. Now, Ernie and Erin were about to be separated, and Erin, Ernie, the narrator's ex-wife, forms a relationship with Michael, who is in the prison. Now, this is the setup, and the police arrives, and they starts the investigation. And and straight away, police arrests Michael and puts him in a secluded position. Now, this is where I'll stop explaining the story, because from here on, it's all spoilers on how does how is the dead body, who's the dead body, is it does it belong to, and what did Michael and Erin brought what bring to the ski resort that was so important, that Michael trusts only Ernie to take a look at. He doesn't trust anyone in the family to take a look at. And why does Michael is so adamant on saying that the money that was found 3 years ago with him was their money, their family's money? And why does their father, their dead father, who everyone thought is so bad, is actually not that bad at all, has a noble reasons for doing what he does? And how does two more murders happen? How does two more murders happen in the family, and what it does to the family? And are there any murderers among the family? And when they get stuck in the ski resort because of the incoming storm, some members of the family take a trip up the ski resort to a different sort of a different lodging, where to find out find out about the first dead body. And they'll come across shocking revelations about the narrator's mother, about Michael, about Lucy, the Michael's ex-wife. And by the end of the novel, the classic the revelation scene is one of the highlights, where the reader is blown will be blown apart um, uh, by the new character introduction that happens, and the deductions that actually happen are quite interesting, I would say. And the only complaint that I have there is, the major deduction that happens where a new character identification of a new character happens, that could have been more clearer, right? Apart from that, I think it's a killer of a book. I think you'll really enjoy it. It's a perfect page turner. Apart from a little bit minor hiccups, I think narrative hiccups. Apart from that, it's a great one. I think you should take a look at it. Thanks.